All right, Lone Star Gunners, welcome to the podcast. This is Lone Star Gun Talk, the official podcast of Lone Star Gun Rights, and I am your humble host, as always, Derek Wills. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry for the very quick intro for if y'all are on Facebook. I had started the live stream, and I had clicked go live on YouTube, and it was going just fine. I clicked go live on Facebook, and it didn't want to cooperate. So I was working on the fly to try and make sure I was get y'all live before the end of the bump music, and thank God I was able to, so thanks for bearing with me. Also, just wanted to let you guys know, this is going to be a rather listener-driven show, because I'm still in the middle of moving in. I don't have a whole lot of show prep in store. I know that I have to give away our custom G45 from ATX Armory, so I'm going to be giving that away, and if there's anything that y'all want to talk about specifically, be sure to chime on in comments, and we'll get that, we'll touch on it, try and make a little bit of a show out of me not being prepared with really anything. So appreciate y'all bearing with me, guys. I do know that there's a lot of craziness taking place in the state of Virginia. If you have not been keeping up with that, essentially, long story short, there has been, the legislature was taken over by a bunch of Democrats, and now there is a huge push for universal background checks, for assault weapons bans, all sorts of wonderful and lovely things that we all hate because they all infringe on our natural rights. And there is a huge pro-gun rally at the Capitol scheduled for January 20th. And apparently, the Capitol Police didn't make this recommendation at all, but the Democrats who made the rule said that they did. They have decided to ban guns during the rally. And as a result, everybody has to be unarmed. Now, the Capitol Police said, no, we didn't make that recommendation. We didn't say that that's what needed to happen at all. But we decided, the Democrats decided that they needed to do that anyway. So there's a lot of craziness going on. If there is a big igloo that's going to be happening, chances are that it will happen in the state of Virginia. Also, in the news that I do know about a little bit is, apparently, there is a job posting for the United Nations in New York for a disarmament, there's a few job postings for a disarmament officer. What's really interesting about all of this is these disarmament officer positions aren't anything new, but for the position to be in the hired out of the United States is one thing. It said that it needs to be, the candidate needs to be fluent in English, which is also another, pardon the pun, but red flag. And the reason is because these disarmament officers, now the UN is an atrocity that doesn't need to exist, but whenever they go into these war-torn areas, they like to disarm anybody and everybody from combatants to civilians and everything like that. And these disarmament officers are the people that head that whole thing up. Now, usually when this sort of thing is being hired for, they say, oh, we're going to X third world country or Y third world country, and we need you to be fluent in the language and customs of that third world country. Well, these new job postings out of New York, they don't talk about a third world country at all. and they say that you must be fluent in English, which is interesting. And yeah, that's crazy. I'm not a huge conspiracy nut. I'm really, really not. And whenever I first heard about this, I was thinking, oh no, it's just another one of those crazy conspiratorial type things where people are going to find whatever it is that they want to see. And the more you start looking into it, the more it's like, there might be something into this. I'm not saying that we should all be in full panic mode, but whenever you pair this with everything that's going on in Virginia, it seems to at least raise an eyebrow, so to speak. Now, here in Texas, a lot of people take things for granted. They think that we are a very pro-gun state. They think what's happening in Virginia right now could never happen here in Texas. What's happened in California and New York and Illinois could never happen here in Texas. I just want to, before I continue that thought, I want to hit the comments. We got Geet Armand Pete is watching in on YouTube. I appreciate you watching. Hello. Bossanelli Bully is watching. And then on the Facebook side, we got Lane, we got Olin, we got John, Fuel Truck Russ, Bobby, Ricey Rice. We got a lot of people here in on the Facebook stream. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. We got, I'm going to butcher your name, Noadiah from Indiana. I am sorry if I butchered that. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. So, as I was saying, a lot of people think that, well, here in Texas, none of this crazy gun control stuff could ever happen here in the state of Texas. And unfortunately, that's very much not true. If anybody has seen anything that we've written, really, we talk about how Texas is ranked 29th whenever it comes to gun rights. And that's by the Cato Institute, which is it's a libertarian think tank. They rank a lot of things from gun rights to business economy, business freedom, even things like marriage and basically any social topic you can think of, they rank that. Now, them being libertarian, there might be a lot of things that you don't necessarily agree with on there, but from the libertarian standpoint, gun rights is one of those things that conservatives and libertarians all agree on. Well, there are some people that claim to be conservative that I would label as FUDs, and those are the butters, I believe in the Second Amendment, but I believe in the right to bear arms, but, and those people just, they drive me up a wall. And the problem with those people is you can't have a caveat. You can't have an asterisk when you're talking about a natural right. And if you believe that that the right to bear arms is a natural right, which indeed that it is, then you can't have but I think X group of people can't own them, or I think that you should have to have a license, or I think that we should not have fully automatic weapons. Anytime you have a but after the fact, everything you said prior to the but is a lie, if you think it's a natural right. Now, going back to what we were talking about, gun rights should be one of those topics where libertarians and conservatives meet and agree that there should be no infringement. There should be no regulation. Every gun law is an infringement. And so whenever you take that into consideration, the Cato Institute has ranked the state of Texas 29th whenever it comes to gun rights. There's a myriad of reasons for that. For one, we don't have constitutional carry in this state. And I will say, these rankings are slightly dated. These go back to 2018, and I don't think they've updated them since. But we don't have constitutional carry. We prohibit the carry in what we have dubbed 51% establishment, or bars, because, well, reasons. If you ought not be going into a bar because that means you're going to be drinking. If you're drinking, then that means you shouldn't be having a gun on you because that's just bad. Even though it's already that we have a law that makes it illegal to carry while intoxicated, but you can't. It's a felony Here's what's funny. It's a Class B misdemeanor to have a holstered handgun if you are intoxicated, but it's a Class 3 felony in the state of Texas if you just walk into a bar with a handgun. It doesn't make any sense, and it's things like this that make us ranked so low on the issue of gun rights. Going back to the comments, we have Ed from Arkansas. Glad to have you. We got Rob. We got Russell from Millsap, Texas. And we got Skip in here as well. And Thomas saying, vote these idiots out. So there's an issue with voting them out. It seems easy, but it's really not. And whenever we talk about certain idiots, like Governor Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Dan Patrick is a FUD. He is the very definition of a FUD. I talked about him 2 weeks ago, about him being on the Dana Loesch show, talking about universal background checks back in September. And he's pushing that here. The problem with voting him out is we can't vote him out until 2022. That's when his term expires, and Texas doesn't do recall elections. So we have a whole nother legislative session with Dan Patrick as the president of the Senate, as the lieutenant governor of the state of Texas. We have a whole nother legislative session with him in this incredible seat of power, arguably the most powerful seat in the state of Texas. And he is going through and pushing things like universal background checks, saying that we don't need to be selling to strangers. If you're a stranger and I'm a stranger, then we shouldn't be selling to strangers, because that's just bad, okay? That's just, it don't make no sense, and they don't have to go through a background check, and I think that they should. That's what Dan Patrick is doing right now. I've talked about our postcard campaign, which is still going on. I will link it in show notes for you guys. Please have us send him a postcard on your behalf. I got one right here that we're trying to get a couple of 1,000 or more of these going through to his office. I'm going to mail them all on the same day. And we're getting close. So, guys, chime on in. They're $5. They go to help fundraise for us, and they'll help send a huge, powerful message to Dan Patrick whenever he gets 1,000 of these sent to his desk at the exact same time. Also, so we got the primaries going on right now. The primary election in Texas is March 3rd. March 3rd. It's not a lot of time, and we just mailed out all of our candidate surveys. I've already got 2 back, and these 2 have been completed entirely, 100%. I've already been contacted by a couple of other legislators who have said, hey, yours is in the mail on Monday, or they're going to email them to us. But we got one from Taylor Gellig from House District 92, along with Phil Stevenson from House District 85. Both of them have been filled out entirely, and we are in the process of building a page on our website. We're going to post all of these up for you, so that way you can read them for yourself and help figure out who you should support in the primaries on March 3rd, because that's when legislation is written. Ellie Perez says, does Texas have open carry with no license? No. Texas requires a license if you're going to carry both concealed and openly. And what's weird is Texas is one of very few states that requires a license for both. I believe, last I checked, the number was 36 states have unlicensed open carry, but they require a license to conceal. And so, and the thing is, Virginia's one of them. With everything going on in Virginia, you can legally carry without a license openly in the state of Virginia, which is crazy. Thomas says, why are the people Patrick and Abbott are bad for our state? Yeah, Patrick and Abbott are bad for our state. Okay. So I don't want to drag this on, guys. Jeremy says, it truly depends on where you are. I had an unlawful carry charges dropped in Winston County, Texas, Dropped, quote, in the interest of justice. I don't mean to chuckle, but that's kind of funny. I'm glad that they were dropped. Where were you? I'm curious to know the unlawful carry charge, how you got that, because that's interesting. Unless you don't have an LTC and you're carrying, that's the only thing I can think of. Shoot me a PM on the details about that. I'd like to know. Okay, so let's get to the giveaway for the Glock 45, the Gonzales flag themed Glock 45. It says it has the cannon and stars all over it. It's really sweet. It's from ATX Armory. Again, you'll have to pardon me. I can't seem to get OBS Studio to pick up my Excel spreadsheet, so I am going to have to do it here. So I put everybody's entries in. I jumbled them up, randomized them 1,000 times. And so if your name is next to a number, that's how I'm going to pick it. I got a random number generator here. And let me see. Okay, the random number is 1,426. 1,426. All right, let's see here. Susan, it says, you said it has your name written all over it. Well, we're about to find out. So, alrighty, 1,000. Okay. Josh Hankins. All right. Cool. Well, there you go. Josh Hankins is the winner. I am very glad to report that. Josh, I am very excited for you. I am jealous at the same time. But you know, I'm glad that it's going to go to a good home. The thing is, if memory serves me, I believe you bought like a whole kit of armor during our first giveaway. So this will go good with that. Pretty cool. Anyway, that is going to wrap it up for me, guys. I appreciate you hanging in with me and helping me mumble through today without really much any show prep whatsoever. Again, hopefully I'll get my life in order here in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully everything will be back to normal. But again, check out our store. Oh, by the way, we will be having another giveaway here shortly. We will announce it. But if you start buying now, I'll go ahead. We'll start the entries now. So until next Sunday, Lone Star Gunners, arm yourself with knowledge and share the ammo.